May I see my next guest on the cover of Time magazine, the first blind person to successfully climb Mount Everest. He has an incredible story. Please welcome Erik Weihenmayer. Have a seat. Now, hey, Erik, now what's the dog's name?
His name's Seago.
Seago, what does that mean?
Doesn't really mean anything, but people remember it as he sees and he goes. That's how.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Seago, like the market, stop and go. Oh, Seago, I see. Well, that works okay. Well, how are you?
Doing great.
Yeah, back from the mountain. Nice to be warm.
Oh, it's great to be back, and it's amazing to be back in sunny California. Up on Mount Everest, it's so cold that up near the summit, I actually had to take a leak, and it was frozen before it hit the ground.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah.
So I'm glad to be back home.
I'm not even sure how that works, actually. Ow, that seems like... Well, I mean, congratulations for all of that. So it's frozen, but it seems like... I'm not... it seems like as soon as you undid your zipper, you would have frostbite, no?
Yeah, there's things you don't want to freeze up there.
Right, yeah, I didn't want to... Yeah. Well, let's go back to the beginning a little bit now. Now I know you're a former school teacher.
I am, yeah. I taught for 6 years. I taught 5th grade. Loved it. Could have done it forever, but got this great opportunity to climb mountains all around the world, so I gave it up for a while.
Now, pardon, but kids can be, when you're blind, you're teaching 5th grade. Aren't you just spitball city?
Yeah. Teaching 5th grade, sighted classroom full of kids is harder probably than climbing Mount Everest,
Well,
I would say.
Imagine.
And my classroom was fun because I just kind of broke all the protocols of a normal classroom. I wouldn't have kids raise their hand, just have them call out.
Right.
Which was fun because they'd sit there at the first day of class raising their hands the whole time, not figuring out. That's the beauty of 5th grade, because they just can't figure out yet why I haven't called on them, even though they physically they know I'm blind. They just can't put it all together yet.
And is it, you know what I find fascinating in your book, too, and you use the word blind, because so many people, there's so much political correctness. Are you comfortable with that word? There's always, do you get different versions of that?
I get it all the time. It's funny because people are scared to use the word blind, like maybe if I hear the word blind, I'll start crying because I'm thinking how sad blindness is or something. and there was a lady asked me one time, she said, what is it like being a person of sightlessness? I've heard the greatest phrase was, what's it like being a person of diminished visual acuity? So you hear all sorts of things like that. People are just wrapped up in political correctness.
Now, when did you...
My teammates aren't, though.
You lost your sight at what age?
When I was 13, I went blind. It was diagnosed when I was a young kid, but went blind finally when I was 13. And, you know, I was frustrated and probably angry for a while, but realized there are all sorts of things I could still do, and blindness wasn't really a death sentence. I could go on and do fun things like climb mountains and rock climb and ice climb.
So when did you start? Okay, you climb a few hills, you climb a few mountains. When does the obsession start? At what point?
Oh, God, I was obsessed the first time I went. I went rock climbing. There wasn't any ball to, you know, smack me in the face or like in your job. So rock climbing was perfect for a blind person. All I had to do was feel my way up. That my hands sort of became my eyes, and I could climb just in a different way anyone else would. And
okay,
it was great.
You get to Everest, and obviously, people can't even conceive of how hard this is. But when how do you know? There's a cliff right there. How do you know you're not going to tumble to your death? I mean, how did that part work?
Well, the teammates hike in front of me. They'll climb in front of me. They'll ring a bear bell, jingle it in front of them. And it's funny, other climbers don't really get it quite right away. They're like, I didn't know there were bears up here. But I'm hiking along behind them, and they're calling out directions. When we got higher up the mountain, actually the snow was steeper and the rock was steeper, but it was consistent. So I was just kicking steps right behind someone. And it wasn't, we're all kind of in the same boat. We left for our summit day at 8 at night, climbed mostly through the dark, so we're all blind. It was great.
And how long did it take to get to the top?
Left about 8 at night and summited about 9:30 in the morning.
No, but I mean the whole climb. From
whole
the bottom
climb
of the hill.
is 2.5 months.
2.5 months?
It's a long time.
Did you lose a lot of weight?
Yeah, what happens, and there's an area of the mountain above 26,000 feet called the death zone. It makes you want to go climbing. And your body begins to sort of eat itself because it can't really assimilate nutrition, so you just lose a ton of weight, and that's part of the Everest experience. Wow. We had a teammate lose more than 30 pounds on the mountain, and he was skinny to begin with, and now he's hilarious. I've felt his arms and his legs. He's like a little chicken guy.
Well, how much did you lose? 25?
I lost about 25 pounds, which is pretty typical.
Wow.
And my friends are just laughing now at me because I'm just kind of skinny, and I have to get back into the gym.
Now, 90% of the people that try this never make it, and many die. Isn't that right?
They do, yeah. And sometimes people see me as sort of the blind climber, and it might be just a matter of semantics, but I see myself as a climber, and I happen to be blind, and that's the way my teammates treat me. And I've been working hard for a long time to gain the skills to climb Mount Everest. So at one point, I just thought, I might have what it takes. I don't know, but maybe.
Well, I was reading there that when you get up to the wind and the weather, your sight doesn't really help you, does it?
It doesn't. Everyone else they have these big oxygen masks over their goggles. Their goggles are freezing up. They can't see out the sides. They can't even see their feet, I've been told. So we're kind of all in the same boat. And it was funny because I summited about 4th out of 19. Which was rather, up there, and well, not that it was a race or anything.
But one last, when you're on the top of that summit, what does it feel like? I mean, obviously, to a sighted person, you go, wow, you can see the whole world, but what do you feel? What is the...
It's amazing, because I remember I was crying in my oxygen mask maybe the last 15 minutes to the summit, and I started almost suffocating because the tears were going in my mouth, so I thought, maybe this isn't a good idea. Maybe I'll wait to cry on the summit. And I got there, I remember just thinking, I just couldn't believe I was there. Because 20 years ago when I just went blind, it was hard getting to the bathroom. So I felt like, I'd come a long way.
Well, you've come a long way. Folks, it's called Touch the Top of the World, A Blind Man's Journey. Erik, God bless you, buddy.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Thanks.
Erik Weihenmayer. Be right back with Luther Vandross right after this. Hey, Seagull.